Jax's revenge domain. I was checking the torque on a safety bolt when Rita Martinez called me into her office with that fake smile she saves for bad news. Dave Thompson, 47 years old, and I've been working quality control at Hartwell Manufacturing long enough to know when someone's about to screw me over. Rita sat behind her desk like she was running a courtroom instead of HR. She had papers spread out with my name on them, all neat and organized like she'd been planning this for weeks. The air conditioning unit hummed too loud, and the fluorescent light above her desk flickered just enough to make everything feel off balance. "Dave, we need to talk about some serious safety violations," she said, sliding a termination packet across the desk. The thing already had sticky tabs on it, ready for my signature. I could smell her coffee getting cold and see the stress lines around her eyes that hadn't been there last month. I kept my hands steady on the armrest, but my grip pressure was reading way over spec. Inside my head, I was already cataloging every safety report I'd filed in the past 6 months. What kind of violations? She pointed to some incident reports that supposedly had my signature on them. Equipment maintenance deferrals, safety training shortcuts, pressure vessel inspections marked complete when they were never done. The kind of stuff that gets people hurt or killed. Just like what happened to Jimmy Rodriguez 15 years ago, something felt wrong immediately. These reports had timestamps from last month, but I remembered those days clearly. I'd been fighting to get that pressure vessel inspection scheduled, not trying to skip it. The dates were all wrong, like someone grabbed old paperwork and hoped I wouldn't notice the calibration was off. "I'll need time to review these," I said, keeping my voice level. Years of quality control taught me never to make snap judgments without checking the measurements twice. Rita's smile got tighter. "Actually, Dave, we need you to clear out your locker today, pending investigation." She handed me a temporary suspension letter like she was passing me a defective part that needed to be scrapped. I nodded and walked out, but my mind was already running failure analysis on what just happened. 22 years at this plant, clean safety record, and suddenly I'm a liability. The timing felt as suspicious as a pressure reading that jumps overnight without cause. Walking back to my station, I felt eyes tracking me from every workbench. News travels fast on a plant floor. Some guys looked sympathetic, others relieved it wasn't them getting called in. Maria Santos from Safety Inspection caught my eye and gave a small nod, the kind that says, "We need to talk later." Tank O'Brien, our union shop steward, was waiting by my locker when I got there. Tank's built like his nickname suggests, 30 years at this plant, and he's seen every trick management tries to pull. "Heard Rita had a chat with you," he said quietly. "Yeah, safety violations, they say." I signed off on Tank's jaw tightened. Same old playbook. Frame the guy who asks too many questions. He handed me his card with a phone number written on the back. "Call me tonight. We need to go through your files." I started packing my personal tools, my calibrated torque wrench, the digital calipers my dad gave me when I started here, the safety manual that Jimmy Rodriguez used to carry. Each item went into the cardboard box like evidence being preserved for later analysis. The thing is, this whole mess started about 2 months ago when Nicholas Bowman began hanging around the quality control station. Kid's 28, fresh MBA from some expensive school and happens to be the CEO's grandson. Real golden boy type who thinks his diploma makes him smarter than guys who've been doing this job since before he could tie his shoes. I remember the exact conversation. It was a Tuesday afternoon, shift change coming up, and Nicholas strolled over with that practiced smile he uses when he wants something. "Hey Dave," he'd said, leaning against my workstation like we were old buddies. "I need to check something in the safety database. Mind if I use your login? Mine's locked up, and I've got a deadline." The request set off every alarm in my head in manufacturing. You don't share credentials, period. Too many ways for things to go sideways when accountability gets blurred. "Sorry, Nicholas. Company policy says no sharing login credentials, safety protocols and all that." His smile flickered for just a second, like a gauge needle hitting a fault. "Come on, it's just for 5 minutes. I promise I won't mess with anything important." But I held firm. I've been doing quality control too long to start cutting corners now, especially after what happened to Jimmy. "I can help you request a password reset from IT, or we can schedule time when I'm here to show you what you need." Nicholas's expression shifted from friendly to calculating. "That's going to take too long. This is for Uncle Charles, family business." The way he said Uncle Charles was supposed to intimidate me, remind me who his grandfather was. Charles Bowman, CEO of Hartwell Manufacturing, the man who could fire me with a phone call. But I've seen what happens when safety gets compromised for convenience. Jimmy Rodriguez learned that lesson the hard way. I understand the urgency. I said carefully, but I can't share my credentials. It's not personal, it's procedure. Nicholas stared at me for a long moment, probably not used to people telling him no. Then the smile came back, bright and artificial as a warning light. No problem, Dave. I'll figure something else out. He walked away, but I could feel the temperature drop between us. In manufacturing, when tolerance levels get exceeded, something's going to fail. I just didn't know it would be me they tried to break first. That night, my phone started buzzing with failed login alerts. Someone tried to access my account 6 times between 2 and 3 a.m. I was home asleep, but my phone lit up like a Christmas tree with security notifications. Each alert showed the same pattern. Someone trying different password combinations on my safety database credentials. I got up, made coffee, and reset my credentials immediately. Standard security procedure when you get breach attempts. Then I filed a ticket with IT, documenting the timeline and requesting a trace on the source IP address. The whole process took 20 minutes, and I kept copies of everything in my personal files. The IT response came back way too fast. Issue resolved. No further action needed. User error suspected. They'd closed the ticket without investigating, like someone had told them to make it disappear. In my experience, when something gets swept under the rug that quickly, it usually means someone with authority wanted it gone. I made notes in my logbook, the same one I've kept for 22 years, documenting every unusual event at the plant. The timing was too convenient. Nicholas needed my access. I refused, and suddenly someone was trying to break into my account. The pattern was clear as a failed pressure test. Now, sitting in my truck in the employee parking lot with my belongings in a cardboard box, I pulled out that security ticket. The timestamp showed the breach attempt started exactly 4 hours after my conversation with Nicholas. Either that was one hell of a coincidence, or the kid had moved fast when Plan A didn't work. My phone rang. Tank O'Brien's number. Dave, you got a minute to talk? Not over the phone. Yeah, where you want to meet. Murphy's Diner on Route 9, 20 minutes. Murphy's is the kind of place where plant workers go to complain about management without worrying about corporate ears. Tank was already in a corner booth when I walked in, nursing coffee that looked like it had been sitting there since the morning shift. Rita Martinez has been asking questions about you for 2 weeks, he said without preamble. Wanted to know about your safety record, any disciplinary actions, workplace attitude. She even asked Jenny in payroll about your overtime patterns. I slid into the booth across from him. 2 weeks? That's before any of these alleged violations happened. Exactly. They've been building a case against you since before you supposedly did anything wrong. Tank pulled out a small notebook, the kind shop stewards use to document grievances. Rita also requested copies of your personnel file from the past 5 years. Said it was for a routine review. Routine review of one employee? That's not routine. Gets better. I did some checking with my contacts in other departments. Nicholas Bowman has been asking around about safety database access, told people in engineering he was conducting a management efficiency study. The pieces started connecting like components in an assembly line. Nicholas couldn't get my credentials directly, so he tried to hack them. When that failed, they needed to remove me from the equation entirely. A safety violation frame-up would kill 2 birds with 1 stone, get rid of the obstacle and create a scapegoat for whatever Nicholas was planning. What kind of efficiency study, I asked. The kind that finds ways to defer expensive maintenance. Tank's voice dropped lower. My sources in accounting say there's been pressure from the top to reduce safety compliance costs. Apparently the board thinks we're spending too much on preventive maintenance. That explained everything. Our pressure vessel inspection was scheduled for next month, and I'd been pushing to move it up because the stress readings were running high. If someone wanted to defer that inspection to save money, my insistence on proper scheduling would be a problem. Tank continued flipping through his notes. There's something else. Rita Martinez worked at Consolidated Metals before she came here. You know what happened at Consolidated Metals last year? I shook my head. Safety inspector took a bribe to delay a boiler inspection. Boiler exploded 3 months later, killed 2 workers, injured 8 more. Company paid out $12 million in settlements and fines. Rita was the HR manager who handled the cover-up. The coffee in my stomach turned cold. She's done this before, and she's good at it, knows exactly how to make a safety-conscious employee look like a liability. Tank closed his notebook. But here's the thing. She's not dealing with some rookie fresh out of trade school. You've got 22 years of documentation, and I've got 30 years of union experience. We know how to fight back. Tank explained the grievance process while I absorbed the scope of what we were facing. This wasn't just about Nicholas trying to cut corners. This was about a systematic plan to remove safety oversight so they could defer expensive maintenance indefinitely. Union contract guarantees independent review for safety violations, Tank said. 3-member panel, 1 company rep, 1 union rep, 1 outside expert. They can't just railroad you through HR. How long does the process take? Depends on how much evidence we can gather. Could be 2 weeks, could be 2 months. But here's the key: during the review process, you're still technically employed, still covered by union protection. That night, I spread out copies of every safety inspection I'd ever signed on my kitchen table. Real signatures, authentic timestamp, stamp, complete with building access logs showing where I was when each report was filed. My wife Linda used to joke about my obsessive record keeping, but those habits were about to save my career. The pattern became obvious immediately. My real inspections showed consistent timing, location data, and proper authentication methods, but the forged reports showed something different. Digital signatures supposedly created at 2:47 a.m. on a Sunday when building security records proved I wasn't even there. I'd been deer hunting that weekend with my brother-in-law, 150 miles away. Had photos on my phone with GPS coordinates and timestamps to prove it. Even had a gas station receipt from the trip. The contradiction was glaring as a pressure gauge in the red zone. Someone had used stolen credentials to create false safety reports, then tried to pin them on me. The real question was, whose workstation had been used to create those forgeries? I had a strong suspicion, but I needed the IT logs to prove it. The same logs that someone had specifically tried to erase. Tank helped me file the formal grievance the next morning. We met at the union hall at 6 a.m. before the day shift started and went through every piece of evidence like we were building a machine that had to work perfectly the first time. The key is requesting specific data preservation. Tank explained, typing on the ancient computer in his office. We ask for system access logs, building security records, and IT maintenance schedules. Make them show their work. The grievance form was 4 pages long, but Tank knew every section by heart. He'd been fighting management tricks for 3 decades, and this wasn't his first rodeo with trumped-up safety charges. We cited specific contract sections, attached timeline exhibits, and requested an independent review board. Please preserve all system access logs for user credentials DTHOMP 401 and NBOMAN 302 between October 15th and November 30th. I wrote in the evidence section. I didn't accuse anyone directly, just asked them to examine the data and see what patterns emerged. Tank right over my shoulder. Good. Let the timestamps tell the story. Numbers don't lie, even when people do. Within 24 hours, Rita called from a blocked number. Her voice had a different quality, less confident, more urgent. Dave, this grievance escalates things unnecessarily. We could resolve this quietly if you just sign the separation agreement. I was in my garage, organizing tools to keep my hands busy while my mind worked. Seems appropriate given the seriousness of the allegations. She stumbled over her words, probably expecting me to sound desperate or defeated. We could include a positive reference letter, enhanced severance package, make this whole thing go away quietly. The desperation in her voice told me everything. They needed my silence more than I needed their approval. If their case was solid, why try to buy me off? I'll wait for the review board findings, I said. After I hung up, I called Maria Santos. She'd been trying to reach me since the suspension, leaving careful messages about workplace safety concerns that need discussion. Maria's been doing state safety inspections for 12 years, and she doesn't use coded language unless something's seriously wrong. We met at the parking lot of a 24-hour diner outside town. Maria sat in my truck cab, checking her mirrors like she was worried about being followed. Dave, I got a call from Nicholas Bowman 2 weeks ago. He wanted to reschedule our annual pressure vessel inspection. Her hands were shaking slightly as she opened a manila folder, said you'd signed off on a deferral request. What kind of deferral? 3 months. Claimed you'd determined the equipment was within safe operating parameters. She pulled out photocopied documents, but I already had your actual inspection request from the week before. You wanted to move the inspection up, not back. I studied the papers she handed me. The deferral request had my digital signature, but the timestamp showed 2:30 a.m. on a Sunday, the same weekend I'd been deer hunting with my brother-in-law. The location data showed it was created from workstation 15, which was in the engineering department where Nicholas had his temporary office. There's more, Maria continued. The pressure readings on this deferral request show everything within normal ranges. But when I checked our independent monitoring system last week, your pressure vessel was running at 78% of maximum safe pressure. 78% was well within acceptable limits, but trending upward. Standard protocol called for inspection when readings hit 80% or showed consistent increases over time. My original request had been based on a 6-week trend of gradually rising pressure, exactly the kind of pattern that requires early inspection. If someone delayed that inspection for 3 months, what would happen? I asked. Maria's expression went grim. Best case scenario, you'd need expensive repairs. Worst case, you'd have a catastrophic failure. At 78% trending upward, I'd expect failure sometime in the next 4 to 6 weeks. The timeline made perfect sense now. Nicholas needed to defer expensive maintenance to show cost savings. My insistence on proper inspection scheduling was blocking his plan, so they decided to remove me and forge the deferral approval. But Maria wasn't finished. I did some checking with colleagues at other facilities. Nicholas Bowman has been making similar calls at 3 other plants in the region, always asking to defer safety inspections, always claiming the local quality control supervisor had signed off. 3 other plants, all of them owned by subsidiaries of Hartwell Manufacturing, all of them showing similar pressure to reduce safety compliance costs. Maria handed me another document. This is a memo that got leaked from corporate last month. Someone in accounting is tracking safety inspection deferrals as efficiency improvements. I read the memo twice. It was addressed to plant managers region-wide requesting quarterly reports on maintenance optimization opportunities and compliance cost reduction strategies. The language was corporate doublespeak, but the message was clear. Find ways to spend less money on safety. Maria, I need you to document all of this for the review board. Your testimony could blow this whole thing open. She nodded but looked worried. Dave, you should know Rita Martinez called my supervisor yesterday, asked about my relationship with plant personnel and whether I might have conflicts of interest in your case. They were trying to discredit Maria before she could testify. Classic intimidation tactics, but it also meant they were scared. People with solid cases don't try to silence witnesses. That evening, I called my son Tommy. He's 24, just finishing his engineering degree, and he's been talking about applying for a position at Hartwell after graduation. The idea of him walking into this corporate snake pit made my gut clench like overturned steel. Dad, what's going on? Mom said you got suspended. I explained the situation as simply as I could. Tommy listened without interrupting the way I'd taught him to do when learning new procedures. When I finished, he was quiet for a long moment. So they're trying to frame you to cover up safety violations that could get people killed. That's about the size of it. Dad, you know I've got to take their side on this, right? My heart stopped for a second before Tommy continued. I've got to side with the guy who's been checking safety bolts for 22 years and refusing to cut corners, which happens to be my old man. The relief hit me like pressure being released from an overloaded system. My son understood what was really at stake here. The review board hearing was scheduled for Friday morning in the main conference room. Rita tried one last manipulation, suggesting I shouldn't need union representation for a simple clarification meeting. Tank's response was swift and quoted the exact contract section guaranteeing representation during any disciplinary proceeding. The hearing room had windows overlooking the plant floor where I'd worked for 22 years. I sat with Tank while the 3-member board reviewed our evidence. Jim Wheeler, representing management, Dr. Patricia Hayes from the State University as the independent expert, and Tank representing the union. Dr. Hayes asked the key questions with the precision of someone who'd seen this kind of corporate games before. Mr. Thompson, did you ever authorize deferral of the October pressure vessel inspection? I referenced my documentation like reading off calibrated measurements. No, ma'am. Building access records show I was off-site that entire weekend. Here's my hunting license, photos with GPS coordinates, and gas station receipts. When they asked about Nicholas Bowman, I kept my answers factual and let the evidence speak. Nicholas Bowman requested access to my safety database credentials on October 18th. I declined per company policy section 4.7.2. Failed login attempts occurred that night on my account. Dr. Hayes made notes throughout. As we concluded, she asked the question that would change everything. Have you ever heard of pressure readings being falsified to defer expensive repairs? Yes, ma'am. Nicholas Bowman specifically mentioned cost savings from deferred maintenance during our October 18th conversation. Her eyebrows went up. Someone else had already connected those dots before I mentioned them. 2 days later, IT completed their forensic analysis of the preserved access logs. The email was clinical but devastating. Unauthorized access detected from credentials DTHOMP 401, actual source workstation NBOMen 302, Sunday, October 22nd, 2 to 14 to 2:47 a.m. Nicholas had used his own computer to access my stolen credentials. Every digital fingerprint pointed directly to him. But the knockout punch came from an unexpected source. The pressure vessel that Nicholas had tried to defer for 3 months. It failed catastrophic stress testing the following week. The independent inspector found metal fatigue that would have caused an explosion within 30 days. Dr. Hayes included that finding in her final report. The falsified inspection deferrals represented an imminent danger to plant personnel. Mr. Thompson's refusal to share credentials likely prevented multiple fatalities. The review board's findings were unanimous. All charges against me were dismissed with prejudice. Rita Martinez submitted her resignation before they could complete their investigation into her role. Nicholas was terminated immediately and escorted off company property by security. Charles Bowman announced his early retirement 2 weeks later, citing health concerns. The federal investigation into safety violations across multiple Hartwell facilities was just getting started. Tank found me in the parking lot after the announcement. Company wants to offer you the plant safety director position, he said with a grin that could power the whole facility. Direct authority over all safety protocols, reports to the board instead of local management. What's the catch? No catch. They need someone who can't be bought, threatened, or silenced. Someone who understands systems and isn't afraid to challenge authority when worker safety is on the line. My new office has windows overlooking the production floor where I started 22 years ago. The job comes with authority to shut down any operation I consider unsafe. No questions asked. They also created a whistleblower protection program named after Jimmy Rodriguez. Tommy called me the day after my promotion was announced. Dad, I've been thinking about that application to Hartwell. Yeah, I'm definitely applying now. Want to work for a company where safety actually means something. The irony wasn't lost on me. Their attempt to destroy my career had created an opportunity for both of us. They'd tried to frame me to protect corporate profits, never expecting that a quality control guy would fight back with the same systematic approach I use for equipment testing. I keep Jimmy Rodriguez's safety manual on my new desk as a reminder. 22 years ago, management pressure led to shortcuts that cost Jimmy 3 fingers. 15 years ago, I watched him retire early because he couldn't do precision work anymore. I swore then that I'd never let safety become negotiable. Some people think manufacturing is just about making things, but those of us who've spent decades on plant floors know better. It's about making things right the first time, every time. It's about coming home safe to your family at the end of each shift. The fake safety reports are gone from my file. The pressure vessel got its emergency inspection and proper repairs. New protocols ensure that safety concerns get elevated to the board level, not buried in HR paperwork. But the most important change is that workers know they have backing when they speak up about unsafe conditions. The new whistleblower program has already prevented 2 potential accidents in its first month. Sometimes the little guy wins, especially when he knows how to keep proper records and isn't afraid to use them. Look, if you've been working in manufacturing, construction, or any job where safety matters, you know the pressure. Management wants to cut costs. Supervisors want to hit quotas. And sometimes that pressure comes down on the guys who are just trying to do their jobs safely and go home in one piece. But here's what 22 years on the plant floor taught me. Documentation is your best protection. Keep records of safety concerns you raise. Save copies of incident reports. Document every conversation about cutting corners or deferring maintenance. Because when the pressure comes, and it will come, those records might be the only thing standing between you and a scapegoat situation. The system isn't rigged against working people, but it's designed to protect those with power and connections. The only way to level that playing field is with facts, evidence, and the patience to let the truth work its way to the surface. Don't let them silence you when you see something wrong. Fight back with what you know, document everything, and trust that honest work will win out in the end.